Please help me welcome Carl Jones.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Mike and Joan, for inviting me here. It's be a little humbling for me to stand in front of a great presentation from Carole Robinson. What a inspiration he is. I think he gets another hand. How many of y'all were at the state convention in Dallas recently? I was there as well. It was a great convention. Carole gave a terrific speech, and I'm thrilled at what he is doing in Houston with the activism and the work that needs to be done. That is very important work. That I'm just hoping that Houston County Democratic Chair Otis, I can't pronounce his last. I cannot pronounce his last name. I just hope that guy is behind the wheel and ready to go, because he's got a big job in front of him. Thank you for coming. Joan asked me to speak about canvassing. That's, believe it or not, door-to-door canvassing is one of my favorite things to do. Besides selling those great big 4x6 Beto signs that Joan and you've seen around the state. We're moving them out all over the state. Speaking of Dallas, we got 250 of them that moved up there, and we gave a big shipment of those signs up there to that county chair, and they're distributing them around. I asked Otis if he'd help us out by taking 250 signs, but he hadn't got back to me yet. I'm hoping somebody can twist his arm and get some of those signs out there. You know, there's a difference between, I need to say this very quickly, messaging and branding. Do y'all know the difference between messaging and branding? Messaging is what you just heard from Carole and from Mike Collier and from Beto and from our great candidates. Message and the issues that they could talk about and what we hear. Branding is what we see. Branding is what we see. So we've got Democrats. I think we all agree that Democrats need to do a better job of messaging and branding, and we're working on both. So the best brand that we have in the state of Texas is, guess what? A 4-letter word, and that's Beto. With those big signs, right? That's branding. That's what we see. Because the other side has a 5-letter word that's basically a very vulgar word that we don't want to say. And they have that word out all over the place. So let's get our branding out there, and let's get some recognition, and so we can see what we believe in. Because when we see that word Beto, we know what he believes in, and we believe in it too, right? So I wanted to say that part. And I also looked at these brochures. I'm going to talk about canvassing here in just a second. I saw these brochures that the North Shore Democrats have put out. These are terrific. I'm going to steal these and put Lake Travis Democrats on them or something. And when I get back to my turf in Lakeway in Western Travis County, I'm going to say, these guys are knocking it out of the park. So let's see what we can do to work our canvassing and our volunteer effort with the same degree of color and accuracy and data accuracy that you folks here have done at North Shore Democrats. I've done a lot of activities over the years with the Texas Democratic Party. When I retired, I was like a bird out of a cage. I just threw myself. I moved here and retired and moved to Western Travis County in a little town called Spicewood. And I called my precinct chair and I said, what can I do to help? And she says, come on over. We're going to have a little meeting and we're going to put you to work. And I did, and they did, and I hadn't looked back ever since. So canvassing, get out the vote, phone calling, texting, postcards, hollering and screaming, jumping up and down. I don't care what it is I have to do. I'm going to do what I can to get Democrats elected to office. And so it's morphed into a job that they asked me to do for the Texas Democratic Party, which is be the field coordinator for the state. And now I go all over the state having meetings and summit meetings with rural county chairs all over the state. And We just went to a big meeting up in Lubbock. We went to one out in Tyler. I think you were the one, you were at Tyler, is that right, Rose? Tyler spoke there, terrific speaker. And we just completed one in Waco just a couple of weeks ago, which for Central Texas. So we've had West Texas, East Texas, Central Texas. And I think they're going to plan a big gig down there in South Texas with some of my colleagues to, y'all know that's an area that is very critical for the Democratic Party. So all of these things that we're doing, we're trying to do what we can to get out the vote. And the bottom line, what we're trying to do, the lowest denominator, lowest common denominator for the equation, what we do, whatever it is we do, it boils down to one thing, and that's get Democrats elected to office. Because we've got to save this country and we've got to save this state, right? Okay. We all know why. Just look at the things that have transpired just in the last year. God forbid. So since Joan wanted me to talk about canvassing, I'm going to do that right now. Sorry if I got a little long-winded, but canvassing is so important. And it is easy to do if you do it with the right idea and the right attitude with a smile on your face. And it boils down to knocking on that door, and you got 5 seconds to build rapport with that person that opens that door. 5 seconds, because what are they going to do if you come across as trying to be somebody trying to sell something? They're going to shut that door. I got to go. So you have to ask a question, and you just do it in a friendly gesture. Remember in the old days when your mother, we used to go next door to borrow a cup of sugar because she's cooking something in the kitchen and she needed a cup of sugar. Oh, she's out of sugar, so she got to go borrow some. Very friendly conversation, innocent. You let them know that you're not selling anything. You're just trying to see if they're registered to vote. And that's, I found in my work, before you get into the heart of the conversation, when you go door to door, is you just knock on the door and you ask them, hello, I'm Carl Jones. I'm with the North Shore Democrats. I just wanted to ask you one thing. Are you registered to vote? Now, right off the bat, you want to give them a question to answer that they can say yes to. And then when we do our targeting, and I think, Joe, you're going to talk about this in Van, you will target Democrats that are likely Democratic voters. So it's usually an easy door knock. So once you know that it's an easy door knock, you see that head going just like this. Yes, I am registered. Boom, you half the job is done. So I'm glad you're registered to vote. I just want to see if you're planning to vote. Another question that they can answer to. So you get those yes questions out of the way, and then you've built rapport already. I'm not, if they get this impression that you're trying to sell something, you take the wind out of their sails, because they know now you're not trying to sell anything. You don't have a product. You don't have anything in a bag that you're trying to sell. You say, are you registered to vote? Are you planning on voting? And if you get 2 yeses there, then you go, have you given much thought of who you want to vote for? Another question. And that's an open-ended question when you say who. So by then, if you've got a good Democrat, that head moving up and down, they're going to talk about Beto. They may talk about Mike Collier. But then if you get a really mad grandma, guess what they're going to talk about? The latest legislation, the anti-abortion, the anti-reproductive rights legislation. Why? Because that grandma, very good likelihood, has a granddaughter or a daughter that has either they're in trouble or they may have a friend that's in trouble, and they are mad as a hornet all over this state. I have seen it in all these counties I've gone to just in the last year. There's some mad grandmas out there, and there's some mad mothers out there. Mothers against Greg Abbott, right? She spoke at one of our summit meetings, and if you ever get a chance to hear Nancy Thompson speak, she'll put you in tears. That woman's magnificent. She has such passion for this cause. I'm sorry, I'm diverting. So you're at the door and you're talking about getting people, making sure they're registered to vote, they're planning on voting, and they've given some thought of who they're working for. Then you've got really 90% of it done by then. So next question, if you get yes to all those and they're going to vote for Democrats and you get a good feeling about it and that head's moving up and down, then you say, when do you plan on voting? Early voting or general election? You see, what you want to do is take the conversation with this voter and steer it towards the goal. And that goal is to secure a vote for Democratic candidates up and down the ballot, right? That's what we're doing this for. We want to have confidence that who we're talking to behind that door is going to vote for us. So if you do that, boom, you've got that voter right there that is going to be committed to voting for a Democrat. And they'll answer that fourth question, say, oh, well, I'm going to vote early. I don't want to stand in line. Good. You know what day you're going to vote? You know, you just keep going on with this thing and you try to get them to commit to a certain day. Good. We hope to see you at the polls. Now, if you're a poll worker like I am, I'm an election judge and an alternate judge. I said, I'll see you at the polls. So I'm going to be watching for you. So I'm glad you're voting. Another thing you can say when you knock on the door is it's very powerful. 3 words are very, very powerful, especially if you're canvassing for votes in your precinct. You say, hi, I'm Carl Jones. I'm your neighbor. Oh, well, immediately that takes a lot of wind out of their sail. Okay, so this fella here not trying to sell me nothing, maybe. So I can listen to him a little bit while longer. And then he says, okay, are you registered to vote? So you start the conversation off cold with some easy layup questions, and you steer that conversation to where you want them to go. And that's to vote and when they're going to vote for the Democratic ticket. So if they're good Democrats, if they're eager beaver Democrats, they're going to be talking. They're going to talk your ear off. You know then that y'all are on good ground with each other. You connect and there's a bond there and y'all can talk for another hour about politics. So now you got to figure out a way to get out of there. Right? Yeah, well, I got about 30 more doors to knock on. So I certainly appreciate you talking to me. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for talking to me. That means a lot because they got something going on in their lives and they took time to talk to you and they're enthusiastic. So you want to reward that enthusiasm by getting a vote. So I'm going to stop right there and then go into a couple of objections you might see before we take some Q&A. One of the things that you'll find when you knock on the door that are easy objections, even with Democrats. What happens when you knock on someone's door and they open that door and they stick their head out, the door's about this wide, and guess who's down there? The dog. The dog or dogs is the perfect excuse to shut that door. I can't talk right now. I get that. So here's what you do. You say, I'm sorry. I see you got the dog. Do you mind? Is it okay if you shut that door and we can come out here and talk to me on your porch? Is that okay? That works pretty well. Okay. So one thing you want to do is get the dog out of the conversation because you can't get that dog to vote Democrat. Right. So you want the door shut and get them out on the porch. Or if they can't get out on the porch, you want to try to make that conversation as short and sweet as you can. Are you registered to vote? Are you planning on voting for the Democrats? And if you say yes to all that, that's probably about as good as it's going to get. Can I give you this? Make sure you give them something. And so they'll take that. And that's is pretty doggone close to to accomplishing the goal with that particular voter. Okay. Another objection you'll see very common is, I'm on a conference call, I can't talk. Okay, I understand. Can you take this and I'll get out of your way? I'm with the North Shore Democrats. I want to hand this to you. I know you're busy. I appreciate that, but I know you're registered and you have a history of voting for Democrats. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So would you please take this and then look at it? Is that okay? And then we may be able to contact you later. That's another common thing. And then a third objection is, it's a very common thing. How many of y'all have gone knocked on a door and you see this little sign that says no soliciting? Right. Well, that's another way of saying get away. Knock on that door anyway. And then what's the first question you ask when they come to the door? Am I intruding? Am I intruding? I'm with the North Shore Democrats. Am I intruding? Oh, well, first of all, you're not intruding. They're thinking to themselves. No, you're not intruding. You're with the North Shore Democrats. So we probably are on the same page. Okay. So then that opens that door to talk there, you see. It's these little nuances that you encounter a lot when you're doing door-to-door canvassing that you really need to know to help you have a much better day. So I wanted to share that with you.